Welcome to another Webinar Wednesday, our monthly presentation of topics and content relevant to Kofax, Highland, and Infor customers. Today is a special crossover edition with our Infor Lawson practice. A few housekeeping items before we get started. This webinar is recorded and available later this week with a PowerPoint deck. You can find past webinar recordings and future webinars online at www.rpic.com/webinars. Go ahead and submit questions through the GoToWebinar, and we will answer them at the end of the presentation. We also want to let you know about our upcoming webinars today and through next month. We have VB scripts for perceptive content today after this one at 1 p.m. CST. We have a couple Infor Lawson webinars, May 14th and 15th, and then next month we're doing system and database maintenance best practices and another accounts payable automation invoice processing webinar. My name is Chad Tucker. I'm the manager of solution engineering. I focus on our design and scoping activities for Kofax, Perceptive, and OnBase.
My name is Jeremy Stoltzfus. I'm a senior technical architect. I've worked over 15 years as a Lawson system administrator on the customer side, and now with RPI I specialize in process automation, implementations, conversions, and custom integrations. Just a high-level agenda of what we'll be covering today. First, we'll just tell you a little bit about RPI, who we are and what we do. We'll then get into the main part of our presentation, talking about accounts payable automation, looking at the different processes and components of that, so intelligent data capture, exception handling, and workflows, and then invoice approvals. We'll be comparing and contrasting the different solutions that are available. And then at the end, we'll wrap it up with a summary and take any questions that you might have. So just a little bit about us as RPI consultants. We're a comprehensive professional services organization. We have over 18 years of experience designing, implementing, and supporting ERP systems, focusing on the Infor Lawson system, and then advanced data capture and content management solutions as well. Just real high level, we have over 80 full-time consultants, project managers, and technical architects with offices located Baltimore, Tampa, and here in Kansas City.
So accounts payable automation for invoice processing basically refers to a combination of software products, solutions, and features that replace manual tasks, activities, decisions related to invoice processing, with the goal of reducing the amount of time and money an organization spends on invoice processing. The main components of an automation solution for accounts payable includes the intelligent data capture portion, which feeds into the exception handling and workflow process for your POs and non-PO invoices, and then finally rounds off with your invoice approvals. Often EDI is considered part of an APIA invoice automation solution, but most of the time there's separate mechanisms within ERPs to handle those, but it could be handled within your workflow solutions as well.
Just to cover a little bit of the product and solution portfolio that we'll be discussing today. Of course, we're talking about the Infor Lawson product and the ERP solution that they provide, and their accounts payable invoice automation module, which is a bolt-on for the older versions, but is included in the Cloud Suite Financials product. Then looking at intelligent data capture, talking about Kofax Total Agility, ReadSoft Online, Brainware by Highland, and Effisoft. With third-party workflows and approvals, we'll be looking at Kofax Total Agility again, ReadSoft Online, Perceptive Content, and OnBase software.
So intelligent data capture specifically refers to the advanced optical character recognition, OCR, to extract the invoice data from scanned or imported images. Typically this process starts with your capture. The software is going to read, extract the information off the invoices, attempt to validate and flag any exceptions that are found on those invoices. The advanced data capture does things like automated PO line pairing, which can facilitate straight-through processing, and eventually the invoice image is exported out of your intelligent data capture into the workflow portion of the solution.
And when everything's working as it should, we refer to that as straight-through processing. So that invoice gets scanned in to the system or emailed into the system, however it's captured in, and then all the data is pulled in. Everything happens without any manual intervention at all. So looking specifically at Effisoft now, which is it's a cloud-based solution, and this is who Infor has chosen to partner with for their Infor Cloud Suite financial solution. So with Effisoft, it's doing the capture portion of it, and then the document management piece. Infor Document Management Solution takes in those documents after they've been scanned in. Even though Infor is partnering with Effisoft for this solution, it does require an additional licensing component from Effisoft directly.
As far as third-party data capture tools that you can use and integrate with your Infor Lawson solution, Kofax Total Agility is Kofax's intelligent automation platform, has robust OCR and workflow capabilities. ReadSoft Online is another Kofax offering that is a completely SaaS cloud-based solution that focuses on invoice processing. And another tool is Brainwheel for Invoices by Highland, which is typically used in global complex use cases that requires multiple languages and invoice currencies out of the box.
So as we consider the different solutions that are available, looking at the Infor solution, it is an integrated solution, so there's less cost as far as interface maintenance and ongoing support and development for those interfaces.
Now, third-party tools, while not having that integration, that native integration, being ERP agnostic, that could be a benefit strategically to your organization if your ERP strategy is in flux and you don't want to have to rebuild your AP automation solution to support a different ERP system.
And the third-party tools at this point are a little bit more mature than the Infor integrated tools currently. However, as Infor is continuing to build out and develop, they are releasing new features and functionality on a regular basis.
So the next portion of an AP automation solution is the exception handling workflow. So this is what happens when all the OCR has been validated, but there's actual business process issues with the invoice that prevents it from being paid. Some of these exceptions could be, you have a new vendor that sends an invoice that isn't set up in your system yet. Maybe you get an invoice with a PO number that doesn't exist, or a PO that's been closed, or the invoice comes in for more than what was allocated on the PO, or there's tax, freight, or miscellaneous charge issues that have to be resolved before the invoice gets paid.
In regards to the workflow, error handling workflows, the Lawson APIA capabilities. So again, this is a solution that is available out of the box with the Infor Cloud Suite Financials application. There is that tight integration because it is part of the solution already. So we look at the user roles, so in AP, that are required to do that. Again, that's built in and a part of the solution. The Infor Document Management Solution, or IDM, is the solution for the content storage and images. And then we have the ION integration piece, which is part of the Infor OS platform, and just kind of ties everything together. And then, of course, all of the workflow and everything is backed by IPA, so there's that ability to automate and customize that using the technology that you're using with your Infor Lawson product already.
So third-party tools, Kofax Total Agility has a highly customizable workflow solution. It does require, to build out Lawson integration for exporting that metadata back into Lawson, but we've built a connector for this called Yoga Connect for Infor Lawson, which is a drop-in connector for interfacing. However, it still needs maintenance. Kofax ReadSoft Online, as a SaaS-based solution, it includes some basic workflow and exception handling, but it has limited customization due to the fact that it is a SaaS solution. And then Brainwheel by Highland requires a separate workflow engine, typically either Perceptive Content or OnBase, to facilitate post-extraction exception handling. Considerations for these different workflow solutions, being able to see your invoices across, having to research multiple platforms to see where your invoices are. Sometimes there's issues with interfaces. for being able to accrue invoices on a monthly basis. So, consolidating into a single system provides, a more streamlined and efficient process for managing where your invoices are at.
And as far as integration, maintenance, and troubleshooting goes, and the development of those interfaces as well, with the APIA solution that's built in and out of the box, and it's technology that your staff that may be supporting your ERP system may already know and understand. There is the additional cost then with those third-party solutions and requiring those additional additional development effort of those integrations, and then again maintaining and supporting. And it's a different skill set and knowledge that's required of your support staff, whether it be your IT department or even your AP staff, learning another system and knowing how to troubleshoot and where to look for issues when they come up.
And then also product license costs for multiple systems. So having to purchase multiple concurrent user licenses for multiple systems, that has a real cost to it. And the additional training and rollout of, having to have people trained on these systems can be costly.
When we talk about invoice approvals, we're talking about either non-PO or service-based PO invoices, and this is when we're looking at the approval routing and based on several criteria, whether it be dollar amount or some other invoice type or something like that. Infor Lawson APIA capabilities, so there is an included GUI-based system to allow you to define these workflow routing rules, and again, this is defined by an invoice type, and by dollar amount to know how far those invoices need to be routed for approval. This could integrate with an existing approval matrix that an Infor Lawson customer may already have. So for example, many customers running requisitions already have a solution, an approval matrix defined for that. So this could tie in and use that existing approval matrix that you already have. And of course, it's all backed with IPA. So again, the technology that your Infor Lawson staff knows and uses today, if that's your ERP system, you're running those custom workflows, or the workflows that are delivered with the ability to modify them and create custom ones as well.
So the third-party tools, Kofax Total Agility, with AP Agility as highly customizable approval hierarchies, again, another GUI-based approval management product, but again, requires custom Lawson integration. Perceptive Content by Highland has the Perceptive Experience AP Approval app. It's very highly customizable to facilitate all types of approval workflows. And then OnBase by Highland has the Approval Manager, again, another highly customizable approval workflow.
So just some considerations, again, is the license cost for the third-party solutions. So if your organization already owns a system, maybe it's not one of those third-party solutions, it might not be an issue, but again, with the approval within the APIA solution, that's included in the license that you may already own.
Another thing to consider is the security maintenance when it comes to an approval solution. Typically, your approval solutions are touching a vast majority of your departmental management staff. So a lot of people have to get into these systems to approve it. So how you're maintaining security across multiple systems versus one system, that's something to consider when choosing an approval workflow solution.
And again, similarly to the exception handling workflow, with the approvals, you've got interface cost and maintenance. So the maintenance of those integrations and those approval workflows, whether it's built in a third-party solution or right within APIA.
So just to summarize kind of what we've talked about up to this point, your advanced data capture solutions, you have the Infor partner solution with Episoft, which comes with IDM and part of the Cloud Suite offering. but it's not as mature as other third-party solutions like Kofax Total Agility, Kofax ReadSoft Online, or Brainware by Highland.
And just to summarize the workflow for approvals and for exception handling, there's that visibility of those service level agreements, so where is my invoice? So being able to easily track. So do I look in another system, or can I look right in my ERP system where I'm already at? But then the integration maintenance costs of a third-party solution versus a common solution. And then again, the product licensing costs for multiple systems.
And then for approvals, having to maintain users in multiple systems can be costly over time and can be confusing depending on where you're driving your approval matrix from. So thank you for attending our webinar Wednesday. If you have any questions, please submit to the GoTo panel at this time. We'll wait a few minutes to see if anyone has any questions.
And if you do have any questions, please feel free to submit them via the questions pane in the GoToWebinar window. We have a couple. First is, if I already have another OCR software that you didn't list, can you help me integrate it to APIA?
Absolutely. APIA exposes both SOAP and REST web service calls that can be consumed either through your OCR application or through a middleware application that we developed like Yoga Connect.
And what is the length of a typical OCR and or APIA implementation?
It's typically about 14 to 16 weeks.
Does EDI come into play at all with APIA?
EDI doesn't come into play with APIA. Lawson has a separate interface engine for dealing with EDI transactions.
And are there any gaps in APIA functionality that you have run into?
So some of the, with the workflow and approval routing, there's not a built-in, I shouldn't say not built-in, but not some of the pre-delivered alerts and notifications and reminders of those invoices. And it's not something that can be configured. You would have to customize a workflow to support that.
All right, that's all we've got.
All right. Well, thank you guys very much. Lastly, I just want to remind you about these upcoming webinars today, so stay tuned for the VB script for perceptive content application plans.